So this is not even seen. It's disturbing me.
Okay. 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 Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. I want to welcome everyone that is actually watching us here live on our session. You are welcome. Please, can you kindly state where you are watching from? We would like to welcome you personally from where you are watching. Tell us where you're watching from. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and to share, to individuals and to others who are willing to watch. I want to welcome you all. Please tell us where you're watching from. 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 We want to welcome you on this live and incredible session tonight. Okay, guys, you are most welcome to this session. So please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that every time we are live, you will be able to know that we are live. You will be notified. Also hit the notification bell, and that will tell you that we are live and you can benefit, from our sessions, and we can share our ideas and thoughts together when it comes to aspects of leadership. So please also share among friends, share with others that will find interest in what we're doing actually. So we welcome you to this live session. So I would say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are actually watching from. And I welcome you today to this live conversation on resilience in leadership. Resilience in leadership. I am Dr. Bamu, your host for this powerful session today, and I'm glad that you joined us. So just tell us where you're watching from, and we are welcoming you. So tonight, I'm here with our speaker for tonight on this live session, Miss Hileni. Miss Hileni is an accomplished educator whose passion for public health and environmental well-being fuels her mission to shape the leaders of tomorrow. Through her teachings and mentorship, she empowers individuals to think critically, lead with integrity, and drive sustainable change that addresses real world challenges. So, Miss Hileni, you are welcome to this session, and we hope that we have a nice time.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bamu. It's a pleasure to be on your show. Thank you once more. It's an opportunity to come and share my experience in leadership. Thank you again.
Thank you. You're most welcome to this wonderful session. So there comes a time in every leader's journey when the team looks to you as a leader, to answer questions that sometimes you don't have. And the weight feels really heavier, than your shoulders have been designed to carry. However, resilience isn't really about the absence of pressure, I believe. I think it's also the decision to keep breathing under that pressure. So I think that is the ability that every leader has to rise even when the weight that they carry seems unbearable. So in your own understanding and within this 21st century, this contemporary times that we are in, and looking at the way the face of leadership is shifting and actually changing, what will you say resilience is?
Thank you so much for that question. Resilience in leadership today means more than just staying or being strong. In this day and age, where leaders face constant change, public scrutiny, and fast moving crises, resilience is about adaptability with integrity. It's the ability to stay grounded in your purpose while adjusting your approach. As we live in a time of uncertainty that is filled with pandemics, digital transformation, social change, and mental health challenges in the workplace, resilience today is more than just surviving pressure. It's leading with calm, compassion, and clarity through pressure. So, resilience is about knowing when to push forward and when to pause and when to speak or just to listen. Thank you.
Wow. Wow, that's really good. I like the aspect also of clarity because, throughout my journey in leadership and the many things that I've learned over time from great speakers as well as mentors, basically on leadership. That aspect of clarity is something that is really really profound, and also the fact that sometimes we think that resilience is that there's that absence of pressure, but I think that based on your perspective, basically around the aspect of leadership, it doesn't really mean that there is no pressure. I think that based on your explanation, it's about like bouncing back. At the same time, you're moving forward, even when you do carry those scars, you carry those burdens, but you still have that ability to be able to push forward and to be able to deliver. I think maybe, for example, in the corporate world, that even when we have existing pressure, high paced work environments and things, keep happening, maybe from the top, if we look at even the top down approach where we're getting lots of pressure from those who are above us, and we are, under consistent pressure to be able to deliver within our workplaces, whether it's in ministry as well, to be able to to meet the needs of those that we are acting as leaders on. So I thank you very much for that explanation, so that we have that aspect of clarity that keeps pushing us, so we know that we're not just bouncing back, we know that we are also bouncing forward, even though we carry the scars that have stories, and then there are also lessons that we learn from the weight that we carry, basically as leaders. So would you say that a leader can both be strong at the same time they are breaking? So can a leader be breaking at the same time? Can they still be strong?
Absolutely. A leader can be both strong and breaking at the same time, as that demonstrate strength and vulnerability, that it coexist. So this takes me to a time when I was in various leadership roles, of which in the morning I was a natural science teacher, and then in the afternoon I was a superintendent for the boarding schools, and in the evening I was actually volunteering with UNICEF and contributed to the back to school campaign during the COVID-19 pandemic. So there were nights where I felt completely drained, yet the next morning I showed up authentically and transparent about the challenges I was going through while still focusing on the solution. So, having said that, leadership doesn't mean avoiding breaking points, but it's about being honest and delegating or sharing responsibilities at times with your coworkers or colleagues, so to enable them to also bring about meaningful contributions and work towards the mission or the vision. Thank you.
Okay, that sounds really good. So, does it mean that as you are carrying out or this, looking at this entire aspect of resilience, will we say that when you delegate responsibility, or you give out, some of the tasks that you have as a leader, or you delegate some of the tasks or some of the duties or some of the responsibilities to the team or to the people that you are working with, does it relieve you of some of the pressure? And can you see resilience from that perspective? Like, if you do share some of the responsibilities to your co-workers or to the people you are working with, does it relieve you of some of the pressure?
Yes, in actual sense, as a leader, you have a lot of responsibilities on your shoulders. And sometimes you are not able to manage all those responsibilities. So having to share some of the responsibilities with your co-workers, your team, or your team members, or your colleagues, enable them also to sort of feel a sense of what leadership means, and if they were to be in such a leadership role, how they would actually implement that. So that is another way of sharing responsibilities and enabling them also to contribute to the vision of the overall company or organization.
That you're actually working with. Wow. That
Yes.
sounds really interesting. Please, if you are watching us, thank you for sharing. I can see Ngela watching from Manchester. Whoever is watching, please just tell us where you're watching from. Please do not forget to hit the subscribe button, and also, the notification bell, so that each time we are online, you will definitely know that we are online, and we can share diverse perspectives, about leadership together. So just a reminder, we are having a live session, and the live session is on resilience in leadership. And we've already spoken about the fact that resilience in leadership is not just the absence of pressure, it's actually there. Sometimes we do feel like, it's a burden for us as leaders, and sometimes we feel like we are unable to deliver, some of the results, or we are unable to deliver some of the results. But it's actually a feeling we can. And we just discussed as well the fact that, a leader can both be breaking at the same time. They can, be strong at the same time. So our guest speaker also gave an example of her experience while she was working, with UNICEF. Okay, so Miss Helene, can you share with us, a moment when leadership demanded more than you thought you could offer? Can you share with us a moment or an example or an experience from your own end, based on your leadership experience, your leadership expertise, the moments where you have acted, like a leader, over these last years, or whenever you started your leadership journey. So, can you share with us a moment when the leadership demanded more than you thought you could offer?
Thank you very much for that question. I would say that the most demanding times in my leadership experience or role was the time when I was actually working with UNICEF. I was contributing to the Back to School initiative during the COVID-19 pandemic. And there were moments when no plan seemed sufficient at all. As the schools were closing, policies were shifting, and decisions had to be made without complete data. However, resilience wasn't just about confidence, but about conviction, doing the best that we could do with what we had to ensure the health and safety of the people in need.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. That sounds interesting. So, with all of that, because I believe that at that kind of moment, it should be a lot of pressure. It should be a lot of tension. I've served as an intern with UNICEF, but I never, assumed, I would say, like a kind of leadership role. So maybe in that context, I couldn't have that kind of understanding, of what pressure could be. So how did you manage that? How did you manage that? What sustained you? How did you manage that? What sustained you?
Yes, thank you very much for that. Because there was a lot happening at the same time during that period in time, especially having to run three different roles concurrently. So, but what sustained me actually was my conviction. Um, that means the ability to remain committed to my purpose, irregardless of the pressures and the demands that was going on, but actually knowing that I was able to deliver.
Wow, wow. That sounds interesting. So, what would you say are the lessons you learned from that? What lessons did you learn from that? What lesson did you learn from that? And you spoke profoundly about, the word conviction that drew my attention. So, what lesson did you learn from that?
The lessons I learned from that was actually the difference between confidence and conviction, of which
Okay.
confidence says that I can do this because of my competency, expertise, and professional background. However, conviction states that I must do this even when I'm afraid. So, those were the lessons that I learned from that entire experience.
Wow. That sounds really interesting. The aspect of confidence and the aspect of conviction. And I am more drawn towards the aspect of conviction because you said you must do even when you are afraid. And this brings, my attention to the fact that, most people really struggle with this aspect of fear, because fear is something that, has hindered so many great people, so many great leaders, from achieving what they want to achieve, or from carrying out or executing their mission, their vision, or their calling, and whatever. That aspect of fear has always been, a very great barrier. And you are telling us tonight that, conviction is actually, I must do even when I'm afraid. So it means that with that aspect of resilience, you still can push forward. It means that it's something that has cleared fear of the way, cleared fear of your, of the your agenda. So could we say that, could we say in a sense, because I don't know whether maybe I should tilt it more towards something more faith based, or something more discipline. This conviction part, is it something that you will consider as faith, or is it something that you will consider as discipline? The discipline, to get the task done, the discipline for you to get the work done, the discipline for you to be able, to carry out everything, irrespective of the pressure, or irrespective of the fact that the load might be looking much more than you anticipated or you expected. Would you say it's something more faith based? Will you direct your attention towards something as faith, or would you direct it as something which is more of a discipline? You discipline yourself, for example, to do that?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question, which is a little bit tricky. I know when it comes to resilience being sort of, faith or discipline in terms of the conviction. But I would say, I think that it can be both faith and discipline.
Okay.
Reason being that when we look at it from a faith perspective, faith would be the guiding principles and values that keeps you grounded to your purpose, and the reason being of what you do, the way you do, and how you do it. However, when it comes to discipline, I believe that is developed through experience and
Okay.
challenges that you go through and overcome as a leader. And because of those experiences and challenges, it becomes a discipline that you have achieved over the time. And that actually gets to strengthen, or rather brings out the resilience in a leader.
Okay. That sounds really great. So, I just wanted to find out, still coming back to that aspect of conviction, because that aspect of conviction is very strong. So, it's something that, I think that we need to get it really right, or we need to get it quite clear, because I believe that that can really shape our perspectives as leaders, maybe in the corporate world, or in ministry, or in whatever, a setting that we are actually, expressing the art, or of leadership. So I wanted to just find out from you, confidence, like you said, confidence says that I can do, right? That's what you mentioned, that confidence says that I can do, but
Yes.
conviction says that I must do even when I'm afraid. So
Yeah.
with this aspect of, because when you tell yourself that I must do something, it means that come what may, you must do it, isn't it? But now my question is that, can this aspect of conviction not lead, a leader maybe to burnout, to stress, to depression, because if you tell yourself that I must do it, so it means that you go against all odds to do it. So, but is this not something that might lead to burnout and stress, which is something that is also plaguing the lives of many who are actually in leadership? So what would you say? Can it not lead to stress? Can it not lead to depression? Can it not lead to anxiety or, burnout, or too much, being done?
Thank you very much for that question. I think it is a very critical question, I must say, of which there is, some truth to it to a certain extent, I would say. Um, if I can share the one thing when it comes to conviction, is that because of the conviction, it comes with truth, and it comes with faith and moral persuasion as well.
Okay.
So, in the sense that conviction has a double nature, of which it
Okay.
can be both destructive when leaders use it to place demands. However, it can also be constructive when leaders use it to treat it as a guidance for direction. So I think if you have a balance between the two, and when it is used as a constructive way, then it can be a positive.
Okay, so that sounds really yeah. I think that that's something that I would say it's really something that is crucial, because so it means from what you said, you just explained that it's something like it has, I would say, a double nature. It's something that has like a kind of double nature. So on the one hand, it's it's like a kind of demand, and on the other hand, it's like a guide. And so if we treat it as a demand, then that's when it becomes more destructive. Like, we, even though we say we must do so, even if we are tired, we still want to do. So that's when it turns out to be something that is more destructive, right? And
Yes.
when we look at it, on the other hand, as something that that gives us direction, or something that serves as a guide, then we know that then it means that definitely we know that this is something that we must do. But when we tired, we have that mindset, I would say, of maybe emotional intelligence, to know that there comes a time where you are tired, and when you are tired, you have to basically hold back. You will not treat yourself, because that's self cruelty, I would say, not taking care of yourself. So even when you are tired, you still want to do it. So I think that with that aspect of conviction being looked at as something that is a guide, that is what is more constructive. But if we think that it is, or when our perspective looks at it as something that is a demand, then it means that that's where the problem is. So it means that, I would say, if it's a demand, we say we must do it in spite of the fact that we're tired. So we don't give ourselves, rest. And then that might definitely, I would say, lead to some kind of burnout for the leader. But if we just see it as something that is guiding us through, the process of leading, the process of, of serving people, or the process of realizing our vision, and then I think that it will be something that is much more constructive, if I understood you well. Okay, so I just want to say a big thank you to our speaker tonight, Miss Eleni. I believe that this aspect of resilience and this aspect of conviction, which is so strong a factor in resilience, is something that is going to definitely, shape our perspective, redirect our attention, and give us that guiding uh, um, that guiding, I would say, directive towards how we do carry out resilience, or how we do express resilience in the aspect of leadership. So with this in mind, I want to introduce our training program on higher calling illuminarium of leadership, where we do train leaders, and we do train leaders who are in their emerging stage of leadership. So whether you are in the emerging state of leadership, or you are already an existing leader who doesn't want to plateau, or you are a leader who has your organization and you want to, keep on growing, or keep growing your leaders, we have every package that suits the nature of each organization, and we are there to, to help us grow, help you grow your organization, help you grow your structure, or help you grow your institution. So you can always sign up of www.acil.live, and there you will find all our programs, that can meet you meet the needs of your organization. You can always contact us at info.acil.live, and there you will be able to meet us, to ask any questions that you have regarding our leadership trainings. So we are starting our first session in November. Don't forget to miss that. You can't afford to miss that. Okay, you can't afford to miss that. There is so much that is there, to offer. There is so much that is there to train you as a leader, and to help you grow as a leader, and to keep on growing as a leader. So thank you so much for this session. On the comment box, you will see our link. Please don't forget to check us out on what we're doing. Like I said, it's on www.acil.live, and you will have every information that you need. Please also don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to our channel. And whenever we are live, you will be able to see us. Thank you so much for joining this wonderful session, and we are grateful. So see you in our training. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you. It was a pleasure being on here.
Thank you. Bye.